It's already done. Good morning.
I was gonna play music, but like YouTube always hits us with the commercials right before the song.
Okay.
So, like we always start it up every time, every Friday. You know what time it is, guys. Excuse me, I kind of sound a little bit under the
You're
weather,
under
but
the weather and it's
it's
okay.
okay. I'm getting better. But happy
Yeah.
Friday, everyone. Thank you so much for
Thank you for,
tuning in to
yes.
Real Estate Unwrapped. Okay, and joining us as always, we have superstars, right? We got
Yes.
Gigi in the house. Gigi, say what's going on. Oh,
Yeah.
all right. And then we got Israel Martinez in the house. Israel, say
Hello,
what's up,
hello,
brother.
everyone.
Yeah.
And then you guys already know
You.
who I am. Everybody knows who I am. I'm
Yes,
Ed,
Ed.
NYC Homes with Ed. We have a very, very interesting show today because we don't know if you guys have tuned in prior to, but we're
Last
going to be
year. Yeah.
revisiting the D personalities. And luckily, we were actually discussing this earlier this week where maybe it's good. Maybe it's good that we go over the personalities one more time right before we start the new year. Last week we were talking about gratitude, so thank you so much for the people that tuned in. We also had special guests. We had Sekou Pao. We had who else did we have? We had
Vincent.
Rodolfo,
Vincent
and then
Fu,
Vincent
we
joined
had
in at the end.
Rodolfo.
Yeah,
so it
we
was
had a lot
jam
of
packed.
good
It was supposed to be on a Friday. That was our first time actually doing a pre-recorded, and we were
Yes,
trying to
and
set it for Friday.
I messed it
but
up.
came out on
I messed it
Thursday.
up. I messed it up.
It's
I
all
put
right,
in the
Gigi.
wrong day.
It was Thanksgiving.
It was Thanksgiving. I was busy.
So we were talking about how we ate Thanksgiving and we didn't eat.
We didn't even eat it yet. It's fine. I don't know. I mean, anyway, the thought was there. It was pre-recorded a little bit before. It was a busy week. Listing appointments. You guys know we were like super busy. We tried to juggle everything and we don't have a production crew. So, but in this segment, we're going to play, it's going to be a replay of what we had, of us, actually a whole show we had, which was really interesting on the D personality. You guys will be able to actually post your comments and we will be able to actually interact. All right. But the video will be playing. Good morning. Good morning. Don't hesitate. We'll just throw in a couple of comments there and stuff like that. And you can get your questions going. And I guess we can start.
Yeah. So Gigi wanted to say hi before we just hit play on this video. So just so you know, we will be answering and responding to comments in the chat. So Faith, thank you so much for tuning in.
Course,
I don't know why these Facebook users always just pops up as Facebook users. I wish their names would pop up so we can thank them for tuning in. But we just want to thank you guys all.
Probably come from my personal Facebook page. That's why. That's what it is.
Maybe. So as we mentioned, we're revisiting the D personality today, and it's almost interesting to rewatch these videos, right? So should we just add it to the stream right now?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, that's us in frozen mode. We all have funny faces. So we're gonna hit play. We're gonna comment in the chat box. For some of you guys that missed out when we first did this live, we're just gonna replay and go through it because it's definitely very important.
There's a lot, yes. Yeah. So let's go through the first personality and the personality profiles, the D personality, dominant, direct.
Yeah. So here we go, guys. We'll be in the chat. Let us know if you have any comments, questions. We'll be more than happy to respond. All right. Enjoy. I'm gonna put us down here for a second and I'm gonna hit play.
That's it. I think we should be live. Good morning, my friends.
Good morning.
Hi, Israel.
Hello. How's everybody doing?
We're good. What is your pause, Ed? That secret agent thing or that super agent thing that you...
I was frozen.
So that should be a...
What, this one?
There you go.
It should be like that. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then we need to find a move for you, Israel, where you just do your...
True, I don't know. I mean, it's something like that. I'll do that. That's okay. I'll do that.
I know. Now, how is your Friday, everybody?
Good, good. Friday's
Friday's
good.
good.
I know.
I'm happy it's Friday. Happy Friday.
We had a busy week. Yeah.
Busy week, but we got a couple of things cooking. Hopefully, some offers coming in this weekend. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
Getting ready for a couple of open houses. I'm not hosting them. Some of our associates are. Let me just decline that phone call. Sorry, people. And and what gonna have? Oh yeah, I'm gonna have photos right after this live. Well, we're gonna have a new listing coming on the market in Marine.
Ooh.
Nice. Marine Park.
Really gently priced. I'm just giving you tidbits, exciting. You know, our photographer in-house, another associate, Barbara Piasek, is gonna do the photos. The tour is gonna be really cool.
Looking forward to seeing it.
Huh? Yeah, I know. What about you guys?
Well, for me, I mean, I'm a little exhausted for a lot of videos that I've done, but I mean, I'm excited for the amount of.
Superstar.
Oh.
You saw the emotion? You saw the emotion kick in, right? It's that deep personality emotion.
Oh my God.
I know. I know. Let me move I have the ring, so so that light could go
There
on
you go.
me.
Get that light in
I have
there.
to get one of those.
I got the sunlight. I don't know if that works. Sunlight definitely works. It's
No, because I'm in my little office space at home, and it's very dark. Look, if I don't put the light, I know our Facebook viewers don't really care, but this is how I would look.
Whoa.
Okay. Batman.
That's kind of dark, right? There we go. Anyway, guys, Facebook people, this morning.
Hello.
Yeah, so this morning we are going to discuss what is actually on the little banner at the bottom, dealing with the D personality buyer or seller.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I'm a D, and I sometimes
Get out of here. You're a D personality?
No. I'm a high D and a high I. And I find it sometimes cool. I find even those, especially the sellers, the D seller, the high D sellers could come off obnoxious, and I can see how a gentle S or a super analytical high C person is completely turned off, or not even being lost and not being able to say anything. So let's go on. Let's share the screen.
We have some people coming in the chat. Kika is blowing it up. Talk about, hey, mom. Hi, Izzy. Hi, Ed.
Hello. How you doing?
What's up, Kika?
That is so funny. Yeah. So let's take a look at. Let's go back to. Let me go to the slide. This is actually, we'll give it to you at the end where to take the personality profile. So we're starting with we've been studying personality profiles for a few years now, right, guys?
Yes.
What is called the DISC method. I'm not going to go into who invented the method and where it's at, but basically it works. All right. And all of us are a combination of those 4 different personalities with 1 or 2 dominants. And today we're going to talk about the D, the first letter of that assessment, the D dominance, which is a very driven, dominant personality. You guys want to go and discuss the other type of personalities for us?
I mean, we can jump into it. Right before we do, though, for all you guys that are tuning in on Facebook, if you have any comments, or we would love for you guys to share, if you know what your personality is or what your personality traits are, definitely pop them into the comment section so we can discuss it a little more.
Right.
So let's go with that. I am a high D. I'm a high D. I'm a high. What are you, Israel?
Me, I'm actually a high C and just an S as well. So.
And you have some I.
I have a little bit of I, but I guess a little bit of I, and it also depends on the situation. I could be a D. But most of the times, in a normal circumstances, normal day, I'm a SC. I mean CS kind of person.
And Ed?
So I'm more of an I if you get to know me on a personal level. I'm more of a C, I guess, as we're getting to know each other. But when you first meet me, my D comes out. So I personally feel that I'm a mixture of a DIC.
I don't.
But I'm more of a. I know you don't see
the S more and the C more than the, then I don't know. No, maybe not C.
I'm a chameleon.
S. The
good.
D, I don't. I don't know. Maybe in business, maybe now you have more D. You're probably right, but that's okay.
Well, that's a great thing about this is that when you first start off, you start off with two of the letters or at least one of the letters, right?
Yeah.
And then as you're progressing, you'll find out that you actually become another letter later on.
Yeah.
And I agree. I mean, to a certain point, when first speaking with Ed, I mean, honestly, I saw a ID in that format, and later on got to understand the C portion of him as well.
Yeah. So
that's really understandable in that sense.
Let's read that slide, that first slide. We're not going to do like something super structured today. We're going to have this conversation. So let's repeat. The D personality is a more dominant, driven, result-oriented.
Yes.
Okay? Task-oriented, competitive. And so you have this whole circle thing divided into different quarters, like on top you have the outgoing personality, so the driven personality, then the I personality, which is a very influential personality, very enthusiastic, optimistic, friendly, could be frazzled a little bit, life of the party, very showy, likes to be seen, a little bit exuberant, and then you have the more reserved personalities like the S, which is still people-oriented, and they're more steady. They are really like genuine, nice people, super nice people, patient, more modest, go with the flow, and really great team players. And you have the other end of that spectrum on the more reserved type of people, the task-oriented. So those are the C. They're very analytical. They are compliant, very accurate. They like details. They're very cautious, and they observe a lot. Okay, and they need accuracy is actually their big thing. All right. Do you guys want to add something to that?
No, I think you hit it on the head, Gigi. I mean, I know we really want to focus more on one. There's a lot, and we can go on for hours talking about all the different personalities. That's why we wanted to break it down and try to dissect each one. So I know in the chat, just so you guys know, Liz put it in the chat. She says she took the exam, and she's a CI.
Oh, really?
Oh, look at that. Very good.
Yeah. And then we have a question. Can a person have a little of all four personalities?
Yeah.
I think you can.
They're crazy.
Yeah. No, you know what it is? I think you can, and I think that's something you can work on, but it all depends on the position that you're in.
And it depends on the circumstances of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have an emergency situation, you're one of two, one of four.
Yeah.
If you're in
fight or flight mode that takes place.
I'm going to tell you a little of something. So when I started real estate 25 years ago in 1789, I was, my children were very young, and I first took that personality profile. So I was just out of being an at-home mother when I started real estate. So it was all about nurturing and taking care of the kids. And I was an IS. I was very and blah, blah, blah. But that S was very, very high on the chart, like a 70 percentile or so.
Yeah.
Then later on, after things of life, and unfortunately go through divorce and have to be on my own, still dealing with the kids, but I have to be in charge more. That whole S became so small, and the D really shut up. So I believe, and I didn't even realize it, and now I am who I am because of all those, where I'm coming from in life, the circumstances I've been in, and what made me.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it all depends on the situation or the position you're put in life. So I think you could. Amanda just put it in the chat. that she also took the assessment and she's an IC.
Oh, she is definitely an I. But you know why we know she's a C? I love those charts that she does. The Excel spreadsheet, the chart, she's super organized with that.
Very analytical.
I love her. But then again, when her eye comes out, she might bang her head on the pavement. Just saying.
It's okay. Bruises go away. It'll heal. It's all about
having too much fun, and that is good. And you guys should actually take some of Amanda and Alex's training also on Facebook and Instagram. All the agents out there, they have like tons of material that is, like, those are like little gems, you know, and jewels, and they're willing to share, and I love that. Right? So let's go back. This is for us edifying our colleagues. Let's go back to that D type. All right, so we talked about the D. I was rereading some of the excerpt of that book. Do you guys see it? It's called Selling the Phone. All right, that's something that I took the Angel Tucker probably training the first time in 2005 when we were at the other franchise. And I'm not going to go in details about the D, but we know that the Ds are very dominant. Okay. They're thriving on challenges. They have to have control, and choices is their things. Okay. And they might go under stress if they feel that they're going to be taken advantage of, when they feel that they lose control, or being disrespected, and where everything is at a slow pace. I know I lose patience when things don't move quickly because I'm getting bored, and that's my D and my I at the same time. And they don't like idle talk that doesn't lead to action. All right. So let's move on to our next slide.
So just to kind of give you guys some background on it, what we're trying to do is give you guys the information when it comes to dealing with the D personality. So all of these traits, it's good to know, and we're going to touch on as we go further into it. That'll help you kind of strategically respond to some of the responses that you get from a buyer or seller.
Right. So a dominant driver, like let's say if we're going to work with a buyer or a seller, as a buyer, great thing is they're very decisive. So they're going to make a decision quick. Okay, but you have to bring you have to bring that value to them. If they don't see the value, if they don't understand that bottom line, nothing is going to happen. You guys want to expand on this a little bit? I
completely agree to that.
Great things working with go ahead.
If you're working with a driver, I mean, honestly, they have already in mind exactly what they want, and if you have that product for them, then they want to see it right away. So it's really for them to answer that particular question right away for them. It's like, I want a 1-bedroom, high floor, looking over this, you know, with these kind of flooring, show it to me now. And that's really what they want. You know, that's really what they're looking for. So.
Yeah, and working with a high D buyer, like a driven buyer, don't send them like 25 listings that may fit the criteria. You're going to have to sort through, narrow it down to really the one they like, because they're not going to want to see all those 25s. They're not going to have the patience to go through the email you send them and just pinpoint one or two and just say, yeah, this is it. That's the one. All right. Yeah.
100%.
And what's your experience with a D buyer or seller?
I mean, they're more direct. Clearly, as you guys are saying, they're more direct, straight to the point. And as you go into some of the possible weaknesses, I mean, again, whenever I deal with a D personality, they tend to want to overstep the authority, even though they have no idea what's happening in real estate, aside from so-and-so down the street who walks his dog told me he knows somebody that says the houses is going to be like this or the prices are going to be like that. You know what I mean? So that's fine, but it's okay. Why? This is something that you do. This is something that you've been doing for some time. So as long as you understand the personality you're dealing with, you would know, okay, they're overstepping their authority. They think they know everything. That's fine. Let me educate you and show you the value behind it.
They don't think they know everything. We do know everything. Sorry, guys.
Oh, okay.
How is that? I lost connection.
Right? Chime. I can't hear it. Chime. Chime.
And then one thing that is really for those who are probably new to the business, a very high driven personality buyer or seller, time is really an issue. They never have time for anything because they're super busy with the rest of their life. So don't spend too much time on anything. When they're gonna, a D buyer is gonna go through through an appointment viewing a property in 3.5 seconds. Okay, because they're very high energy. They don't have time. They know what they want, and they go in, they get out. They like it, they'll make an offer. End of story. And actually, they're gonna ask for the bottom line. They might even challenge that bottom line and give their offer.
So in other words, right. So another word to use for D as well is direct, right? So they give you a direct question, they want a direct answer. You know, it's like they ask you something right away. They want just not the runaround answer. They want that exact answer that they're looking for. So that's what driver, or D is. It's really good.
Yeah.
So we go to the next one.
Our point, we can go to the next because we found a typical D type personality. So this is a photo of an actual person. She's
read it with that emphasis, that deep personality emphasis. Go ahead.
Right. So you want to read her quote. This is JD Robb. She also goes by the name of Nora Roberts. For JD Robb, she writes thrillers. She has a series called In Depth. Never read them, but I heard they're widely popular. But I read some of her romance novels on the beach. It's like a 2.5 hour read on the beach. I never remember what it's about because it's whatever. I don't really care about romance novel, but it just is funny when you're at the beach. Anyway, so you want to read that quote, Ed?
I'm gonna read it like a D personality.
Go ahead.
Here we go. What's the point of playing if winning isn't the goal?
Yeah.
Very true.
That's exactly that. So how do you guys, because I'm not really a best example to ask basically to demonstrate how to,
not the best example for what?
For dealing with a D type of buyer. So let's say Israel, you're high C.
Yep, high C. Yep.
Right. And how do you deal with those type of buyers or seller? Let's go with the buyer.
Well, it all depends on three things when it comes to dealing with the buyers, and I'm sure we're going to go into trades a couple more times, right? So, three things I actually look for when it comes to dealing with buyers and sellers is tonality and body language, right? And the way they answer the question, as far as the speed of how they answer the questions right away, right? So, especially when dealing with the buyer, buyers, as I said to you before, or I said to everyone before, in the sense that they write question or they write situation. They're looking for a 1-bedroom, 1 family, 3 families, whatever they're looking for. They're actually wanting that particular situation. So how I deal with them is ask them, questions after questions and trying to deep dive exactly what they're looking for. But it can't be to a point of asking too many questions. Because what happens is with a D is that they'll be like, what is this guy? Doesn't know what the hell he's doing, right? So what you do is you ask the direct questions like as though they want you to seem as though you know what you're doing, right? So let's just use a 2-family as an example. Are you looking for a 2-family with 3 bedrooms, 3 baths? Are you looking for in a particular area? What most people would do, like a C or an I, will probably ask, what made you like about this particular area? What is it that you love about this particular area? These don't want to hear that. They just want to say, all right, I found this home and come and come and see it. And that's really how I deal with that. When it comes to sellers, honestly, the way I work first is pre-qualifying them and knowing exactly what I'm working with. So once you sit down with them and you say, hey, I have a lot of comps we're ready to work with, they'll let you know, like, just give me the bottom line. How much is my home worth? What do you think is my home worth? And how fast can you get it sold? And that's really their, like, it's in the billboard of their forehead. It's like exactly that. What's it worth? And how fast can you get it sold? And from there, you just have to make sure to build a relationship with them to understand that there's a process for everything, but I can actually show you how much it's going to be worth later. So.
What about you, Ed? How being you're an I, right? And you're an S.
Well, again, I feel like I'm a chameleon. So I just kind of, and we hear it a lot. We hear it a lot. It's really about mirroring people, And
so let's talk about your high S, because I'm gonna be frank with you. I've known you for a few years, and I remember when you came into real estate, that's S and C was extremely predominant.
Correct, and I'll give you two reasons why.
Yeah.
The reason why is because in order for me to come in as an outsider and be a part of a team or a family, I have to come in being someone who's sincere and who's going to give value to the group. Is that right?
Yeah.
So because of that, I know to engage those personalities at that time. Why? I want you to understand that I'm coming from a genuine place. Until there's a problem or an issue down the road, then you'll get to know the other parts of it. But that's how I initially engage. I engage coming in as someone who's sincere, honest, who's, genuine. Hey, this is how I do things. I can assist you along the process. That's how we go. As we progress, not saying that, I don't call for assistance, but as we progress, depending on the positions that I'm put in life, I'm going to have to change my personality to gear towards what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. It's not easy. But of course, that's something that takes time to do, and I said it at the last training that we did. It all comes down to listening. If you're listening,
what is your biggest challenge with dealing with a D by
taking it to the heart? I think that's the biggest challenge. And correct me if I'm wrong. And guys, if you're listening on Facebook, put it in the chat. I know there's some comments which we should touch on.
Right.
But put it in the chat. In my opinion, when you're dealing with a D, it's almost like you're getting rejected because it's you. That's what it might feel like. So I'm coming in to try to sell you an idea and you're just rejecting it off the bat. It's almost like when you're eating at a restaurant and the server comes and asks you if you like another cup of water and you say, no, thanks. They walk away. And imagine if they went to the back and started crying about it. Well, when you're dealing with a D personality, they might say, no, did I ask you for more water? Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'm just coming over because your cup looks like it's half empty, and I just want to give you some more water so you don't ask for it later. No, I didn't ask you for water until I ask. Boom, Yeah. So I think the biggest challenge there is don't take it as you are being rejected. Learn from it. I think if you reach out and ask maybe why you were turned down, you'll get the answers you were looking for. What if you're dealing with a D personality and the person says, to be honest, I think you're a nice person. I think you're good at what you do. I just, like you were showing me a lot of the stuff that you were trying to do. And I needed somebody to just kind of be more direct, kind of like get it out there, get it going, get it moving. And, you're a nice person, but I feel like this person might be a little more driven for my taste.
So my personal challenge with a D, as a D and an I think my biggest challenge is impatience, because I'm gonna get impatient, even though I totally understand where they're coming from. I get
still impatient with them.
I get impatient by their impatience, and I would also, because I'm naturally challenging the status quo. I have to like hold myself back, and it's like,
yeah.
And no, I'm like, look at this obnoxious person right here, and I'm across the same way, So I just have to hold back and say, here, just take a look. Like, you understand, that's their personality. That's how they're going to react.
You know what I believe
Yes.
Everybody's strength is when it comes to dealing with a D personality type of person, patience.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
If you have patience with that person, understand where they're coming from. You're probably the 5th, 10th, 20th agent that they spoke to. They wanted to get into the place, but they never followed up. What are you going to do for them? Like, that's how they are. So they're going to always be on the defense. And as we spoke about it before, what's their biggest weakness? Feeling like they're going to be taken advantage of. So what do you have to do? You have to work around it. Okay, I understand where they're coming from, but here, let me show you why this makes sense. Let me present value. Let me show you why it makes sense to get the pre-approval versus just going to a bunch of open houses. Because if you show them the value, again, they don't like to waste their time. So if they don't like to waste their time, let them know that they're wasting their time unless they do it the way you explained it to them. And if there's value, they're going to do it.
So let's show Melody's comment right here. She's fairly new with the team, you know, and
welcome, Melody.
Hello, Melody.
I took it too hard, but bounced back, and now I know. Caught me off guard, ha ha ha. But yes, this was a great learning curve. Yeah, so you can't take it personally because
don't take it personal.
Yeah, it's not about you, you know. We
take it as constructive criticism?
Yeah. Right. I mean, I think that we should never feel as a defeat. We should always either you win or you learn. So whether you won that situation, if you haven't done that, then you're going to learn from that situation. That's really how everyone should look at it.
All right. So these slides we will share with basically with our workplace Alliance Movement group and in the Facebook private.
You're welcome, Melody.
Alliance Facebook group, and you'll be able to actually review them and use them as little, you know, like, you know, note cards. Okay.
Ooh, this is good.
Let's review this one. I need my glasses. This is awful.
Well, if you want, I'll start reading.
Yes, go ahead.
So D-style goals, right? We were touching on it in the beginning. D-styles tend to have goals such as these, right? They strive for unique accomplishment. So yeah, sometimes they might come off as being perfectionists, but understand that they do know, but they still need the proper guidance and they're willing to open up to that, in my opinion. Explore new opportunities. There it is. They're moving on and they're trying to explore the world. Maintain control of the audience, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I think a clear example is how Gigi takes control of this video. Achieve independence. Achieve independence. That is 100% true too. That's what they want to do.
What are you talking about?
That's it. They want to be on top of it, but it's good.
Right.
There's nothing, again, guys, there's nothing wrong with it. The good thing is that we need to figure out how to work with it. You need to figure out how to put them in a position where they feel like they're achieving that independence. Even though it was your idea, you help them kind of make it seem like it's their own. And then get the bottom line results. Israel was hitting on that before. They want the bottom line, right?
Yeah.
Give me everything pointed out, bullet points. This is what we're trying to achieve. Great. Now you have to make sure that you're holding up your end of the deal.
Yeah.
Did I leave anything out for styles and goals?
Yeah. Israel, you want to read the middle one so we can.
Of course, the D-style challenge. I mean, D-styles may need to expand more energy too. So before we had mentioned that you need patience, and that's absolutely right. You certainly need patience, but not too much patience. And then display sensitivity. Certainly,
that's the challenge. We can't display sensitivity. Yeah,
it's a fine line.
There's a great and fine line to that one. Certainly, it's whether or not they show it. You know, it really depends on their mood and their timing at that time. But there is a small display of sensitivity there, and then explain the details. Here's another great line to that, because the challenge on that is this. Certain points, some of them feel like they know the whole entire process of buying or selling. And then there are certain obstacles, certain things that you need to explain. And certain things really take a lot of explaining, and some of it takes a little bit of explaining. So the ones that take a lot of explaining, you just have to find a way of how to comprise that in a sort of like, in a sort of way to make sure that they understood what it was you were trying to explain, and then in a way that
you gotta go quick. You gotta be like right now.
Yeah, boom, exactly. And then
And
allow for deliberations. I mean, honestly, that's another move too, where you have to allow for that. So I think all these are
they're not going to allow you. Sorry to interrupt you, Israel. Actually, that the buyer or especially the seller is gonna try to challenge again that authority and not allow for your own deliberation. They're not, they don't want the details. They just need cut it. And that's a challenge when you're going on a listing appointment. And yes, you have to show some details. And yes, you need to show some stats because that seller wants $1 million. The house is worth $700,000.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other challenge also here they should add is just excuses. You should never add too much excuses as to why something didn't happen. So
yeah. The extra talk is really useless. All
absolutely.
Right? Yeah, let's talk about the D style in leadership. I'll take this one. So D style leaders are often commanding. We know that. They display confidence. And
there it is.
Yep.
Taking care. That was just an imitation of extreme D. And focusing on the results. They often display leadership characteristics such as these: commanding, resolute, like this is it, that's what I think, that's not nobody else, I have the truth, absolute truth. And they could be pioneering in the sense that they like challenge and they're innovative.
Right.
And that's it. And this is what a D would look like hands folded like this, looking you down. That's an extreme D, Yeah.
That's one way about it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these actually, either they're chest out or they're really, always want to be in front of the line. Arms crossed.
Like before it was, I think before it was a little easier to kind of gauge the prospect or whoever it was you were sitting with, because you're there face to face. If somebody's crossing their eyes, if you see them looking over to the side and they have that kind of serious look, like, and they're just nodding, but they're really not saying much, you kind of already know where you stand. The only time you grab their attention is when they actually look. You see them lean a little bit, but then they catch themselves and they lean back, but then they kind of get more engaged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're still guard up, but you can kind of see it. On the phone, it's a lot harder. So we're going to actually bless you. We're going to actually touch you again. We're going to actually touch into that.
Let me make sure we did not lose anything. All right. So how to sell to a D? All right. Professionalism is always important. Number one, even in your appearance. I think as Ds, they want somebody that sort of matches with them, So you're not going to look you don't have to look super fashionable because they don't care about that, but you have to look professional, look the part.
You have to look like Batman to them.
Talk the talk. So make sure you're always prepared for a meeting. You got your paper in order. No extra bullshit for shuffling and all this. Sorry, I said the B word. All right. And if you don't know the answer to the question, let them know you'll follow up. Just don't say I don't know. Just say let me get back to you on this one. Okay, and I'll give you exactly.
I'm sorry. What I would recommend if that happens, if you're ever caught in a situation where you really don't know what the answer is, a way to deflect it would be, hey, Gigi, I see that's important to you. I'm not 100% sure, and I don't want to mislead you on information. So let me follow up with you. I'll get back to you tomorrow. Let me just make sure and confirm that you can sublease it as soon as you buy, or that you could do this moving forward.
My reaction would be, as a D, I would be even shorter. Okay, Mr. Seller, you know what? Let me get back to you on this one. It's just going to be a one-liner.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to emphasize that I don't know and just want to. So that's how different we are. And as long as the result is going towards either an offer that is going to be accepted or a listing, it works for everyone. Like we all have, you don't have to try to be a D to work with a D style buyer or seller. Be yourself, as long as you get to the point.
And understand the type of personality they are going into it, if you can. That's why it's always important to listen to them.
Assertives, also Ds, appreciate efficiency. So don't waste time repeating fact or building up to your point.
They hate that.
They really
Oh
hate
my
that.
God.
Really
That's
hate
like
that.
that's like poking someone.
Yeah.
If you keep repeating it, it's like what am I talking to? A broken record? How many times you got to repeat yourself?
Yeah, and you know what? On the third point, this is what's also important, and that the sort of a paradox of being a D. Emphasize how your product will solve their business problem. You know, cutting edge features won't impress assertives unless you can demonstrate why they will be useful to them, to the organization if they're in business, or to their life when they're a buyer or seller. So you see, if you can reassure them, and by you being assertive without being pushy, of course, yourself, if you can reassure them that you're bringing value to their life,
Right.
that, you know, that reassurance is going to help them actually deal with the value.
That's very important. You need to show value, because if you don't show value, they'll just chuck you to the side and move on to the next person.
Yeah. So here we were talking about selling as far as selling product, but take advantage of their competitive nature and show them how your services will help them compete, you know, with the other, especially if they're going to be buyers. Like, okay, this is how we're going to structure this offer. Even if you're a high C analytical person, if you show the value of how you work as that very, really analytical person, and they see that they're going to get the end result, they will work with you. Okay, so steer clear of personal opinions. And you know that time when I remember that other client. No. No.
Right.
Let's rate of return, bottom line, end of story. Okay. And the last one is D-type drivers are not great listeners. We are awful at listening. Just keep your statements short and loud.
I don't think
it has to be understood.
I don't think they're hard or difficult listeners. I think they just have selective hearing.
Good one.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they have selective hearing as well.
They're gonna hear what you're saying. Like you said, if there's value behind it, they're gonna hear it. If you doze off into a story about how you saved the day as a superhero and let me paint this picture of what I did, they've already glazed over.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's selective. Keywords here. I always see keywords. Just get to the point. Whatever it is, just get to the point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, get to the point where you're going to go with that.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that you know that there is a very short attention span for BS. It's true. Like, and so it could be difficult for very analytical persons because they're so detailed. They have bullet points, a lot of things. So you need to concentrate and say, okay, let me just extrapolate this and give it to him like this. And on another instance, we'll do this and this and give it to him. I think I'd like to hear from really analytical people we have in the group, if we have any, because it looks like the driven type make great salespeople. They could be like, look at our team, our fearless leader. Vincent is a super D. He's a very high I too, but you can see on the way he just moves, it's just driven. He likes to show. It's just like he doesn't have time for all the, outside, the flourishing and all that.
Well, I mean, knowing these characteristics is great. I mean, you can always look at the characters or people around you as well. Celebrities that are around you, people, family, and friends who are around you. You can start noticing who are your Ds after that. Who are the ones who just want to hear the get to the point statements? Who just doesn't have time to just really listen to you? You start noticing that after a while.
Yeah. Yeah, and let's move on to the next one. So we sort of worked on, and we can talk about it. We worked on some of the typical D buyer responses you might hear out there, And maybe we can just see, what we would answer to that, right? So you hear a lot, I don't have time for this, just show me the house, when you're going to talk about, about the house features, and it's got a pool, and you know what? They changed the chandelier. They put this beautiful granite marble countertop. That buyer is going to say, "I don't have time for this. Just show me the house."
Mm-hmm.
How do you respond to it, Israel? What do you say that you're not going to lose them? You just say, "Yeah, just go ahead," or you still need to qualify the person, and you need to add something.
I still need to qualify them. So I let them know that there's a process in buying everything, and if you don't have time for today, will be the best time for us to discuss that. If they say I do have time, then great. Let me discuss exactly how I run my business so that we can actually show you this home and any other homes that may match exactly what you're looking for. It'll only take 15, 20 minutes. Do you have time for that? They'll say yes, no, and then go from there.
What about you, Ed?
I think it kind of comes back down to where you are in your business, right? I mean, look, we all have steps. We all have steps that we like to take through the home buying process, selling process. So it depends on where you fall. I mean, if they say, hey, look, I don't have time for this. I just show me the house. That's fine. You know what I mean? We do have a process for that. I can meet you there at that time. This is what I'm going to do to save us time. I'm going to send you a couple of forms that we need to have signed before we see the property. Just make sure you sign them before we go to see it. If not, we can't get in. So now it's like, damn, I don't want to waste my time. I got to sign these forms.
Right.
I need to see the house. Whatever, fine. I'll sign those forms. I'll have everything there for you tomorrow. No big deal. Perfect. I'll see you tomorrow.
I usually say yes to the appointment. I say, in the meantime, what's your down payment? How much money you got in the bank? Even if it may sound like really offensive to another person, and this is
being direct.
We're gonna move on to the next thing. How much money you have to put down? We're gonna have to come up with a pre-approval if we want to make an offer.
Right.
House is hot. Right. We need to move fast. Do you have all the paperwork ready? Yes. Okay. Let me send you all those disclosures. You're gonna sign it on your phone. No need to print. It's gonna be done. You say 10 tomorrow morning. Okay, great. I see you then.
You see, for me, I can't work with somebody like that. I'm like, slow down. Okay, relax. Right.
And
first of all, you need to explain this to me.
Right, because that's your ass thing.
Yeah, no, it's funny.
Yeah, but that's how it is. And if they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna meet you right there. Yeah,
of course, I can see it. I can see someone with a deep personality. Like, yes, finally, I found somebody that's like me. They can sell my house. Let's go.
All right, so let's move on to just tell me the bottom line. How much can I get for this? How much can I get this house for? Just give me the bottom line price of that seller.
Yeah. And guys, as we're going through this, please do feel free to put in any comments in the chat. Okay, just put it in there. If there's anything outside of this, what we're really kind of going through is giving you guys examples of some of the responses that depersonality buyers and sellers might say to kind of trigger in your mind, oh my God, look who I'm speaking to. We were talking about this the other day at the training. Now I can kind of restructure my presentation or the way I'm going to have my dialogue with that person, because now I know the personality that I'm speaking to. So if you guys have any comments that you kind of get stumped on, or that you hear that you might say, you know what, this sounds like this might be a deep personality, pop it into the chat.
Yeah. And then, and whatever we're sharing is our life experience, is what we encountered, and this is not the absolute truth. And we really want to hear your feedback. We want to hear your questions. We want to share. Maybe we want to get ideas. I mean, if Olga is still watching, Olga Maeva, I know, like, Olga is like bam, bam, bam. She would deal like a panther, and she'll just take control over this, because she's also a high S, but she had, and I would have wanted to hear how she deals with that. So your comments are really, really welcome. Let's move on to
real quick before we skip over it as we move on. There was Angie that put in the comments, I guess there's a dominance test. I didn't know about that. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but there's another exam. I guess there's like dominance with numbers and steadiness. And
don't have time for that.
I'm just throwing it out there. Go ahead, Gina. Go.
All right. When they're saying, are you the listing agent? I don't want to deal with anyone else. I want to deal with the listing agent.
Oof.
How do you guys deal with that?
I work
with your personality.
I mean, you're like,
I am the listing agent.
I've actually had that a couple times. Are you the listing agent? I don't want to deal with the listing agent. I don't want to deal with, I mean, I'm glad to hear that, but I work for the listing agent. So let me explain to you exactly what we can do to get you to this house. Can I ask you a couple questions and then go from there?
Yeah.
Or that's really how I would answer that. It's been successful most of the times. Other times, I like click. So I'm not sure how you guys would answer that.
I would say I'm the listing agent. I'm better than the listing agent. Why would you want to deal with the listing agent? No, but yes, saying yes, I represent I work with I'm with the listing agent. It's fine because we're co-broke. Depending on how you say it, yeah. If you can grab their attention and they're good with that, yeah.
You know what I used to say. This is earlier. What I used to say is, I would ask them, it's like, are you thinking about that you're getting a discount because you're working with the listing agent? And then go into this whole spiel as to why it's not the right thing to do. And some of these D personalities are like, I don't want to hear all that. Listen, I just want to stay home. So that's where I've learned to cut it short. It's like I work with that person already, and let's talk about how I can get you into that. I need actually a couple questions.
Yeah. The next one is, I don't want to show you my dogs. I'm telling you, my credit is good and I have great income. I don't need this pre-approval.
I love that one. That's like going to the doctor's office and you're telling the doctor, I have this pain in my body. Can you help me? Well, sir, what are you feeling? Well, you're the doctor. What do you mean? Why are you asking me that? I'm telling you, I'm in pain. Help me. Well, I mean, can you kind of give me some information so that way I can kind of figure out and diagnose you properly? So that's the same thing. Now, granted, the D personality is just straight to it. I'm good. And this is my response, because I feel like D personalities, they do like the challenges. And I think that kind of triggers them to engage more. So when they say, I don't want to show my docs, I'm telling you, my credit is good. I have the income. Fantastic. Are you pre-approved yet? And if they say no, okay, so someone who's already prepared and moving along that says they're already good, their credit's good, they already have this in order. It sounds like you don't have this in order yet. So how do you know you're good? Well, my income is good. I know you might believe that, but the banks might see it differently. So I don't want you to go see this house. You love it, you fall in love, and then we walk away, you try to get pre-approved, and then the bank says you don't qualify for that house. Guess who you're going to blame? Me. Whose fault is it? You. How come you didn't show me? How come you didn't tell me about this? Why didn't you guide me? So to prevent all that, you need to have this prepared. And right there, they might challenge it and say, but you know what? The other place that I went to didn't ask me for that. You know what I say? The other agent wasn't doing their job then.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right, so we don't have much time. We're really going a little bit over what we expect, which is good.
It's all right. It's all right. Let it flow.
So D personality responses. Just give me the best offer. So you present. You have this listing with the seller, and you come into a multiple offer situation, and you have to present 4 offers. And he's telling you, and we have ethically,
you're right.
Speaking, we have to present all offers.
Right.
Correct.
Give me the best offer.
But if you start off with that alone, just say, hey, listen, seller, I have to present all offers to you. It's part of our job, part of our thing. I'll go over it, and then we'll just distinguish exactly which one will be considered the best offer for you. It's only 4 offers, only 3, so let me just go over them, and then you just obviously let them know the highlights or the points of each one, because some of these offers we'll get offers that have like a long sheet of stuff, and others just 3 points, and that's it, call it a day. So it's really depending on how you present that.
Right. I would present it. Look, Mr. Seller, I will present you whatever is the best offers to you. Just all those offers have different. There are offers with the price, what is maybe the best price, but you also need to have the best terms. So let's review end the story.
Very good. Yeah.
What would you say, Ed?
I mean, you guys kind of hit it on the head.
Yeah.
I would be the type of person, because I'm like that. I'm like, oh, that's how you want to be? Perfect. So I'm the type of person that I'll print out every single freaking offer and put it in the envelope and give it to you and say, here are all the offers. You can look them over whenever you feel, but these are the strongest offers that I see on the table. You know what I mean? Because if they're going to act like that, then that's fine. I'll present what you want. I just, by law, like you said, I have to present all offers. And I know that you're someone that's so busy. So I know you're not even going to go through those offers, but at least I did my job. I gave them to you.
Yep.
You look them over whenever you see fit. So you can't tell me later on down the road, how come you didn't tell me about this offer? Selective hearing. I was trying to tell you about it, but you decided, no, just give me the best offer.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm going to combine the second one and the third one. Is I don't need your comps. I just know how much my house is worth, or just send me your comps and I'll get back to you. I'll tell you what we're going to price it at. And this is in a possible listing presentation scenario.
Right.
I don't need your comps. I know how my house is worth. I know how much my house is worth.
All right. What's your price? What's your number? It's like one of those, like, what's your price? What's your number? And let's go from there. I mean, and
would
then just have a price.
Just anything they say, or
Absolutely.
Yeah. I
mean, if you've done the comps correctly, and let's just say that their home is worth $400,000, but they're at $475 or $480, and I'm just using numbers to use numbers, and they just justifying it because the next door neighbor, who's really not the real true comp to them. I mean, you just have to say, hey, what's your number? Let me hear your number and go from there. All right, well, these are my numbers. This is what I think we should go by, and go from there, and then go into a price description, and figure out why they feel that their number is $80,000 more than the other number. So
I'll actually tell them this is what reality is. Okay, those comps are actually sold properties. This is what the market is calling for. It's not like basically like mythology and we like, oh, this is what we want. It's not like wishful thinking. Those are actually comps that are being used by appraisers. Okay, we're gonna have most likely at 95% of the time we're gonna have a buyer that needs financing. So they're gonna have to the bank is gonna have to approve that price. So this is what we need to do. So same thing, and I will get back to you. Nah, dude, I know what I'm doing. This is no. Let me tell you, okay?
Yeah. I mean, I also use.
I send you the comps. You're gonna throw them in the garbage, and I will tell you. You're not gonna look at it. Let me come over and show you. Just give me 15 minutes.
I also use the method of fire, market, and pretty much fantasy. It's like, how much time do you need to sell this home? Do you need to sell it right away? Do you need to just put it in the market, or do you just want to see how the market looks like and use that method? So if the market's telling you 400, then great. If you need to sell it as a fire sale, then just drop it down to a certain amount. And if it's, I just want to see what the market, just want to hang out and just chill with the market, then we'll go with your number.
Yeah.
But know that in a month or so, we're going to have a conversation saying, hey, listen, it's time to drop this price. So.
Yeah. I actually had a seller that I engaged in with a conversation like that. So she was like that. She was very direct. She had a price set in mind for a property that is not, it's like 200,000 more than what it's selling in the area. So I didn't reject her idea. I told her blatantly, and like you said, this is where the hearing comes in. What is your time frame? When are you trying to sell? If you're trying to get out 30 days from now, great, I can help you with that. If you're trying to sell this a year from now, or you're really not in a rush, don't even put it in the market. You're going to get that number. You're just not getting it today.
Right. Okay.
So.
And we tossed some little, statements from these sellers. It's like once you have the listing, we have the listing presentation. What can you do for me? It's basically what they want to hear. Or, once you get the listing, it's like, just do it. I don't want to hear your whole marketing thing and blah, blah, blah. Just do it. Give me your feedback. Call me once, call me after that showing. Tell me how it went.
That's it.
Once you get a response like that, I mean, honestly, you've already done your job as far as providing the value of what you can do. I mean, they trust you enough and saying, hey, listen, here's the keys to my house, sell it, move on. All right. And that's really what that is. So if they say that to you, I mean, at least if they say that to me, great. Make sure, let me get the keys, make sure you sign all of this on Skyslope, and we'll move forward from there. And that's, a great way to do that.
Yeah. So just as we move on, there's a couple of comments in the chat. So Kika said, when speaking to someone who has a D personality, remember to use your key points, use short sentences, and be confident in your delivery. And then Fernando wrote,
No,
the other agent.
Before you go to Fernando, Kika is my daughter. She knows the drill. Kika is a super high eye, but with life, although she works in the fashion industry, she's working directly with leaders. Those are like designers, like company owners. I'm not going to throw big names, but so those people are these. And at home, she understands how I respond. So as a child, I think she's been adapting really, really quickly on my personality style. So she hit it right on the nose.
Shout out to Kika.
Yes.
Shout out.
So Fernando said the other agent wasn't looking out for the best interest. Then, ... My job is to help you in the best way possible. I guess these are just responses.
That's from the comments from before.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good one. And Fernando being also an S and a C, he is good. He's able to now package the thing without giving like this huge speak, because he's going to want to give more details, and then that seller or that buyer won't allow him. Right.
Yeah.
And then Michelle just says, what's she saying here? I tend to.
Oh, she works with a lot of DC. She can handle them. Michelle is a super high D. She's fine. She's fine.
Super deep.
Attracting them. She's like, let me come to you. Yeah. So let's so those sellers, those D sellers are gonna want to also not lose control. So they want to know exactly what you're doing all the time. And we've heard probably, don't make me have to track you down for updates. It could come across as a threat, but it's really they're expressing what they want or don't want, and she's not really a threat. It's like they want to make sure they stay in control of the whole situation. They want to hear your feedback. They want to make sure you still give them the value.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So let's wrap it up with how to improve communication with a D type. Minimize the feature, maximize the benefits, and don't go with a long list of benefits. The main one.
Just 3
With
points.
the short benefits.
Your service can help them reach their goals. They still need their Ds, they're driven, but they need reassurance that you're going to be doing the job. And listen closely. They want to listen, but you need to listen closely so they feel that they're being heard.
Yes.
You need to ask specific, targeted questions. Don't waste their time with other fluff and other personal statements in that. And keep up the fast pace to match theirs, because they're going to talk fast. They're going to make like gestures all over. They're going to just talk to you, and next minute they're across the house. They're like, what, aren't you coming? I'm showing you the house, So, and give them direct answers, like, oh, don't start with or I'm not sure. Ever.
That's very, very direct. Yeah.
Very direct. No, no, I'm not sure. Well,
if you need a moment, because that's normally what those are. Those are like out loud. I'm saying, give me a second. I need a moment to think. So if you're going to say, what I would recommend is keep your mouth closed. Don't even use any pitch of the tone or nothing. Say it in your head. Stay quiet. Think about what you're about to say, and then explode.
And you can say, give me a second. Give me a second. And you can say, I need to give me a second. I'm putting my best answer. And that's fine, because you're giving them a straight, direct answer.
Yeah. And what works for me is actually repeating what they say. That actually gives you more seconds.
Thank you, Dan.
Just repeat exactly what they said, and not at least the last 4 words. And
not too much exactly.
Right. At least the last 4 words.
Just reiterate. You want to reiterate the important part of what they said, and then follow with what you wanted to say.
Yeah. So let's see what we have. So then we have the sub-styles. I guess we're going to leave it to, it's going to be almost an hour into this presentation. We're going to put them into the Facebook group, private group, and the workplace private group as well. And we're just wrapping up with another summary of communicating with the D. So all this is going to be available to you guys that are on our team. And if you're not on our team and would like to have access to those type of information that we provide to you on a regular basis, and would want to discuss partnering up with us, please feel free to call us. We're looking for a few good men. And
women.
it's always looking to discuss association with us, whether it's Israel, Ed, or myself. All right, don't hesitate to call us and see what our organization can do for you.
Yes.
Want to wrap up with something, guys?
I mean, we could kind of, I guess, to read this slide if you guys haven't read it. I mean, ultimately, it sums it up. When communicating with a D-style individual, give them the bottom line right from the start. I mean, we can't drill this enough. Okay, be brief, stay focused, avoid generalization, refrain from repeating yourself. You don't want to overdo the repeating. You just want to reiterate the most important message in what they said. And I was reading that, but that's fine, Ginge.
There you go. No, it's top of the hour.
There goes that time, the impatience part. Gotta go.
It's top of the hour.
She's like, Ed's reading? Don't worry about it. Click.
You're done reading. You don't read
right now. A deep personality will never be a waiter, so think about it that way.
All right, I think I was muted. I don't know where my partners are, but this was a segment that we played almost a year ago on the D personality type. There was a lot of information. I'll be glad to actually, I think I still have the slides someplace. So for the agents on our team, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Israel or Ed or myself will be able to get you the material. We left some links to personality tests you can take. This is a fun exercise to do. You get to understand a little bit who you are, and then some of the people you're interacting with, your husband, your children. Sometimes it's really fun. So until next week, everybody, we'll have another segment of Real Estate Unwrapped. I hope you're having a great week and a great weekend. Thank you, guys. Enjoy.